Hey guys, it's Mr. Curry here. I am back for another review question video. Thanks for tuning in. Um, I'm going to try to get the rest of these lessons. This is obviously going to be lesson 3. Lesson 4 and 5 will come out very, very soon. So I want to jump right into this, but before we do, make sure you guys are washing your hands or using hand sanitizer. Uh, okay, keeping healthy. I miss you guys a lot. As I say every video, but it's true. I miss it. Miss being at school. Miss you guys a lot. Okay, so lesson 3. Question 1 is found on page 379 and 380 under the section of Henry II, because this is something that Henry II did. So how is a grand jury different from a trial jury? Let me get my pointer out here. And we're going to go down to this paragraph here. Henry set up juries of citizens to settle disputes. Traveling circuit judges met with a grand jury, and they decided if a person should be accused of a crime. Next came a trial jury to decide whether a person was innocent or guilty. And we still have this today. If you get charged with a major crime, not you, but if someone gets charged with a major crime like murder, it will go to a grand jury, and the jury will decide if the state can charge this individual with that crime. If they say yes, then it will move to a trial jury, and the trial jury will then decide whether that person is innocent or guilty of the crime. Question 2. Sorry, this text is stretched out, but it was small. It says, how did the Magna Carta limit the power of the King of England? So, this is on 380. You'll read here in 215, the nobles met with King John at Runnymede, a nearby meadow, and they forced John to sign a document called the Magna Carta, or the Great Charter. The Magna Carta placed limits on the king's power. The king could collect taxes only if a group of nobles called the Great Council agreed. The Magna Carta also forced the king to uphold the rights of free men, including the right to fair trials by jury. So that really answers our question. You can keep reading about it. There's a nice quote there. No man from the Magna Carta. It says, "No free man shall be taken, imprisoned, seized, outlawed, banished, or in any way destroyed. Nor will we proceed against or prosecute him except by the lawful judgment of his peers, and by the law of the land." So, how did the Magna Carta limit the power of the king? What power did it take away? It took away the power for him to collect taxes, and it required him to uphold the rights of the freemen, meaning he had to give people a fair trial, which he wasn't doing at the time. I'll talk about that in a second. Question 3. How did royal power in England progress from William to Henry II to John to Edward? I'm not going to include the text here because it actually covers, this is covered in several pages of your book. So if you want to go to 378, we're going to learn about. You're going to read about William the Conqueror. So William. So what we got to think about is how did power progress? How did power change? How or what did the king's role? How did he have more power? What kind of how did it change from each of these four kings? So let me get out this. So if we're starting with William the Conqueror, so William the Conqueror in 1066, an Anglo-Saxon king died, and a noble by the name of Henry Godwinson claimed the throne of England. And this guy, William the Duke of Normandy from France, said, no, 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 no. I have the rightful heir to the throne of England. And so in 1066, he invaded England with his troops, and he won. And the final battle, the most famous battle that he won, was the Battle of Hastings, where he eventually would defeat Harold Godwinson. And he became King of England. What's kind of unique about what William did was that he forced every person and animal to be counted, and they called this the Doomsday Book. But really, why he did this was that he wanted to kind of figure out how many people were out there, account for everyone, so we could start to collect taxes. And he started to build castles, monasteries, and cathedrals in England. Henry II came to throne after William died. And the biggest thing that Henry II did was set up a royal court. And this is on page 379. He set up a royal court with lawyers and judges, circuit judges who traveled across the country to hear cases, brought the king's law to all of England. And so he established this what's called common law. The courts created a body of common law, or law that was the same throughout the whole kingdom. Common law helped unite England by replacing laws that differed from place to place. So Henry was really known for setting up this common law throughout England, all over the place. He also set up a grand jury system. However, the next king to take the throne was King John, Henry's son. In 1188, King John increased taxes in England and began to punish people without trial. And the nobles of England, nope, they were not cool with that. That was not cool. And so they essentially rebelled. And they rebelled in 1215. They were able to force King John to sign what's called the Magna Carta, or the Great Charter. We talked about it in the previous question. And this placed limits on the king's power. It limited his ability to collect taxes. It limited his ability to just punish anyone. That was not okay. So that was really how power progressed under King John. He had to sign this Magna Carta and took a bunch of power away. And King Edward of England in the late 1200s increased the authority of his Great Council, Grand Council. This group of lords, church leaders, knights, and townspeople became known as Parliament. Parliament came to be divided into two groups: an upper house and the lower house. The growth of Parliament marked an important step toward a representative government. And so we saw people under King Edward start to step into these roles. These are now they created what's called the Parliament, and so these townspeople, clergy, lords, not just the nobles and the kings had the power. Edward made a system where it was a uh, representative government, which people could be elected and serve the government and kind of have the voice, their own voice. So, if you want to pause, go back, kind of review all that. But so this question really wants you kind of to trace how the power of the king kind of went up, came back down with the Magna Carta, and we start to see it over in this time period in the late 1200s. Kind of the people have more say in the government. All right. That is question number 3. Question number 4: how did the cities of Kiev, and uh, Kiev and Moscow become centers of the powerful Slavic states? Okay, we're going to start right here. In the 800s, the Eastern Slavs began to expand the city of Kiev. The medieval state of Kievan Rus grew wealthy from its river trade with Scandinavia and the Byzantine Empire. So the city they became very wealthy during this time period. But in 988, the Rus ruler Vladimir married the sister of the Byzantine emperor. Vladimir became Eastern Orthodox Christian, and soon priests from Constantinople came to teach the people in Kievan Rus religious rituals and the arts of painting icons. However, in 1240, Mongol warriors from Central Asia conquered Kievan Rus. Um, Basically, they required them to pay uh, a tribute to the Khan. Um, and if they didn't, they like we when we learned about the Mongols, they were burnt to the ground. During this period of Mongol rule, many Slavs moved north from Kiev and built settlements in the area of what is now Russia. One new settlement was called Moscow. Moscow became a large city that prospered because it was the crossroads of several major trade routes. The rulers of Moscow learned to cooperate with the Mongols, and in return, the Mongols gave them the right to collect taxes from other Slav territories. If a territory could not provide soldiers or tax money, Moscow's rulers took control of it. In this way, Moscow was able to gradually expand its territory. Ivan the Third became the ruler in Moscow in 1462. He married Sophia, a niece of the Byzantine emperor. Ivan adopted the lavish style of the Byzantine rulers and was referred to as Czar. The Russian word czar, uh, like Caesar in Latin, means emperor. So in 1480, Ivan was finally able to drive the Mongols from Moscow uh, and out of the Russian territory. He next turned to the north and west to add territory By then, the people of Moscow, um, now known as Russians, made great strides towards establishing a huge emperor. So I know that was a lot of reading, but you can kind of see how Kiev became popular, just and powerful through trade. And then as the Mongols came in, they didn't really give in except for one city, Novgorod, and um, um, then you see how many fled north and created Moscow. So hopefully that helps. Again, if you guys still are stuck, just send me an email. But you need to make sure you're in the email. You say, hey, I'm still stuck. I watched your video. Um, so, yeah, that's question 4. Question 5, why did Western Europeans go on crusade? This one's pretty straightforward. From the text, during the 100s, the Byzantine emperor in the east came under attack. In 1071, an army of Muslim Turks defeated the Byzantines and seized control of most of the Byzantine lands in Asia Minor. The Byzantine emperor asked Pope Urban for military aid to save his Christian emperors from Muslim forces. The Pope agreed to help the Byzantines. He hoped that in return the Eastern Orthodox Church would then unite with the Roman Catholic Church and accept him as their religious leader. And so in 1094, the Pope asked Europe's nobles to begin a crusade or a holy war against the Muslim Turks. He urged them to capture Jerusalem and free the Holy Land where Jesus had lived from the Muslims. So that is why the Western Europeans went on crusades. Kind of summarize that in your own words. Question number 6 is write a paragraph discussing how the Crusades affected feudalism. This is found on page 385. The Crusades brought Western Europe into contact with Byzantines and Muslims. As a result, Western Europeans gained new knowledge in architecture. They learned how to build domes and create mosaics. They discovered how to build better ships and more accurate maps. They also learned how to use the compass and tell direction. Wealthy people in Western Europe began to demand Eastern goods such as spices, lemons, and silk. The Crusades, however, weakened feudalism. Here's where we get our answer. Nobles who joined the Crusades lost their land and freed their serfs. This reduced their power. The kings were able to build stronger central governments. So, you want to talk about how the nobles who joined the Crusades, they left on the Crusades. They lost their land. They had to free their serfs, or they had to sell their serfs to finance um, their time away. And so this reduced the power of the nobles, and as a result, we saw the kings build bigger and stronger central governments. Pretty straightforward. All right, guys, that's it for this video. If you have any questions, send me an email, or you can. I turned on comments on Google Classroom. Again, I'm going to try to get another one of these videos out either today or tomorrow, and definitely by the end of the week, you'll have all lessons 4 and 5 out. I am no longer posting the videos of the reading just because of some copyright issues. Didn't want to get in trouble for that. So I do have ability to give you access to the online text where you can go in there and have it play it to you. That's all I did. I was just recording my screen and I covered it up. But regardless, I can set you up with an account and send you an email with all that information. But just reach out to me and we can take care of that, no problem. But you definitely have to send me an email. Okay. I hope you guys are staying healthy and doing well. Take it easy and keep it real. It's been real. It's been fun. Mr. Curry is out.